travelers, and welcome to Go See Do Explore.
Here we dive deep into the world of travel, sharing practical tips, can't miss experiences, and the insights to help you make the most of every trip.
Whether you're a seasoned explorer or just starting to plan your next getaway, you're in the right place to get inspired and equipped.
I'm Christopher.
And I'm Ashley.
And together, we'll help you chart your next adventure, discover what to see and do, and share the stories that bring each place to life.
It's time to go, see, and do more. Let's explore.
Hello, and welcome to the Go See Do Explore podcast.
Hello.
We are here today for another news episode. We did one a little earlier in June, but this is getting back on track to do the end of June.
Yes.
So, like we normally do when we have these news episodes, we're going to start with some airline news.
Okay.
Scrolling up. I feel like this is going to make you sad. So prepare.
Okay.
Silver Airlines abruptly shuts down.
I think we heard that this might be coming. They had declared bankruptcy a while ago. That's too bad. I always wanted to fly them.
I know, that's why I said it might make you sad.
Yeah. Yep.
So Silver was a regional airline operating mostly in the Caribbean.
Yes. They had, I think their home base was somewhere in Florida, but it was a lot of flights to the Bahamas and then inter-island flights between places like Puerto Rico and the Virgin Islands and stuff like that.
As of June 11th, they posted an Instagram post that said, "We regret to inform you that we are ceasing operations as of today."
Wow.
So I'm going to imagine that if you're listening to this, probably isn't a surprise to you. But if you had any Caribbean travel plans on Silver, it is time for you to make some alternate plans. Hopefully you had travel insurance, not through them.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what fills that gap because they were serving some routes that people need, especially some of those inter-island routes. There are other airlines that also fly those, but it'll be interesting to see what happens. That's too bad, though. I always wanted to fly them. They had those big pink planes, and they were prop planes.
Yeah, the picture looked interesting.
Yeah.
Skytrax has named the best airline of 2025. Do you have any guesses?
In the whole world?
In the whole world.
Is it a U.S. airline, though?
No.
Okay. Emirates?
Nope. Number one, I think this would surprise you, so I don't know why I was expecting you to get it.
Oh.
Qatar Air.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
I will read
I was
the top
in
10 list.
the right part of the world.
Yes, you were in the right part of the world. Number 10 is one I'd never heard of, Hainan Airlines. It's a Chinese airline.
Yeah, I don't know them.
Number 9, Japan Airlines. 8, Air France. 7, Korea Air. 6, Turkish. 5, it's another Japanese, ANA.
ANA is the national carrier of Japan.
4 is Emirates. 3, Cathay Pacific.
Yeah, that's a Filipino airline.
2, Singapore Airlines. And number 1, Qatar Airways.
Okay.
Americans might be surprised to hear there's not a single American airline on that list, and that is not unusual.
Yeah, I wonder why. Like, I understand a typical difference between an American airline and some of those, but is that what they're evaluating it based on, is like luxury? It'd be interesting to know more about their criteria. We don't have to get into it here. But it's not like the legacy carriers in the U.S. are bad in general. It's just that a lot of these ones that you mentioned have like first class and business class services that are things that American Airlines don't have. U.S. based airlines, I should say.
Yes, not American Airlines
Right.
specifically.
American also doesn't have it.
Right.
Yeah.
So if you are looking to travel in Asia, there are a lot of good options.
Yep.
I named a lot of Asian airlines.
Yes.
And then British.
I know ANA is supposed to be really nice. People talk about that one. People talk about a lot of those.
All right, here's some more sad airline news. Discount carrier Play Airlines to end all U.S. flights by October.
I'm not sure I knew they were flying to the U.S., honestly. I know they're an Icelandic airline, right? And
Yes.
they fly from continental Europe to Iceland. Where were they flying in the U.S.? New York?
New York.
Miami?
New York Stewart. Boston Logan. Baltimore. That looks like it's it.
Yeah. Probably with the rise of Iceland Air in so many airports in the U.S. now, it's probably harder to compete.
Right. It says the airline will instead focus on flying leisure travelers between Iceland and Europe, and it will essentially try downsizing by leasing 6 of its 10 Airbus A320neo planes to other airlines.
Okay.
Yeah. So if you are looking for a discount flight to Iceland from the U.S., it might be harder to find. But we found Iceland Air to not be too expensive.
And they're growing their routes and their frequency in the U.S.
All right. And this is one that we have talked about, you and I. And that is there's a new EU regulation that is going to require airlines to allow free carry-on bags.
Yes.
So this is a big blow to the big ultra low-cost carrier Ryanair, which I think a lot of people love to hate.
Yeah.
And this is tough because I feel like in the U.S. there's that junk fee law that basically says they can't hide the costs for those things anymore, but U.S. airlines can still charge for them. This is saying all airlines, it has to be free, which makes me wonder, I guess U.S. airlines that fly to Europe typically do, like Spirit doesn't fly to Europe. But I guess, I don't know, I find this kind of silly because you know that they're just going to have to put that into the price of the flight, and Ryanair is now going to cost more than it used to.
So it's good for you if you were doing a carry-on anyway. If you're someone that was benefiting from the discount by not carrying on a bag, then it's going to cost more. I hear people, especially with England, I hear people talk about how British tourist destinations are oftentimes the past few years have been weighed down in traffic because it's cheaper for someone to grab Ryanair to Spain than it is to take the train to wherever they would go in England. And so I think there are a lot of people, my impression anyway, is there are a lot of people that are flying those kind of flights for the day and not necessarily like they might go to Malaga in the morning and fly back in the evening or something like that. Or maybe they spend one night, but because they spent £6 on the flight or whatever. But
that's crazy.
Yeah, it's going to cost more now for sure. So it's interesting. I think that these changes, they're intended to benefit the consumer, and certainly I think in some ways they do, but I think there's also sometimes an impression out there that the ticket prices won't change.
Right.
And that's obviously not the case.
Right.
There will also be more competition for that overhead space now, just like
Right.
it is on the U.S. legacy carriers.
Yeah. Yeah. And hopefully you won't be in a situation like on our last flight where they're like, before they start boarding, they're like, this flight is completely full. If you are planning on carrying on a bag, you can check it here for free. Sounds good. And then the flight was delayed 2.5 hours. And they're like, if you have a connection, you're going to want to call that phone number. Oh, and by the way, if you have a bag on the plane, it's going to stay on the plane.
Yeah.
That didn't work out for those people. We're going to move to a little bit of cruise news.
Okay.
And we've been hearing this a lot more for various ports around the world, but Cannes, France is the next port to crack down on large cruise ships. So beginning January 1st, ships over 1,000 passengers will not be able to enter Cannes.
Okay.
We're seeing that more and more places as over tourism is such a big problem. And yes, Cannes is the next port to enact these kind of laws.
That's interesting. Does Cannes show up on itineraries with England? Is that usually where you would see that? Because it's not in the Mediterranean, right? I think it's on the North Sea.
Yeah, I've seen it on some itineraries, but I can't tell you.
Yeah.
It's one that I've always thought would be interesting, but under 1,000 is a pretty small ship. And they also set a limit of 6,000 passengers per day, so they can't have 6 small ships. That seems like a lot. I don't know. But yeah, so getting to Cannes on a boat might be a little bit more challenging in the future. Our next little bit of cruise news is that Carnival Cruise Line is revamping its loyalty program in 2026. And what's interesting about it is that, so most cruise lines' loyalty program is based on days at sea that you have booked with them. They'll offer, like when we took our transatlantic cruise, we got, I think, 4 times or something like that. So we got a lot of points for it. But starting in 2026, Carnival is not going to be by days, but by
Yeah, I saw that coming as you were saying it. This matches what the airlines have done.
Yeah, and it's going to, and also your loyalty, this kind of stinks, is only good for 2 years.
Yeah.
So I feel like you really have to sail a lot to make that worth it.
Yeah.
Just crazy. Because right now with their VIFP status or their VIFP program, it's lifetime. So we sailed Carnival once, like 13 years ago. With the current system, we would have, I don't know, whatever like their first tier is. By 2026, we will go in with no loyalty, which is fine because we haven't sailed in 13 years. So we're obviously not that loyal.
Yeah.
But it just makes me worry a little bit about some of the other cruise lines following because we actually do have a little bit of status with Norwegian after I mentioned a transatlantic cruise where we got 4 times the points or whatever. Yeah. So it's just, I guess, hopefully it means that you have to sail every 2 years to keep your status, not that it completely expires in 2 years. Because
Yeah, I think that's what that would mean.
airline loyalty, you use it a little more, typically most people, than cruise line loyalty.
But with airlines, I'll give you an example. So I had accumulated some American Airlines points in 2019, and then I didn't fly American for a few years. And then when I flew them a bunch in 2024, I think, they were telling me, like, you lost those points from 2019, but if you pay us $75 or whatever, you can have them back. It was like, you could, like, they hold your points ransom. Yeah, we've said it before here, but loyalty is not what it was. And I know I see a lot of people complaining about that online, and I certainly understand if most of your travel life you've thought of loyalty in a certain way, these changes are disappointing, but I don't think it's changing. So thinking about how to optimize your travel in a way where loyalty is not the center is really important. And you should listen to us for that, because we gain loyalty where we can, but it's never the center of our strategy when it comes to cost.
And I feel like a lot of people would really laugh when they realize we actually probably have the most status with Spirit.
That's true. Points you can actually use. Yes. That's their new slogan.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was all over the airport.
Yeah.
It's funny. All right, it's probably time for a wine break.
Okay, let's go to the wine break. Hello, and welcome to our early morning edition of the wine break, which is why we have so many wines here today. No, it is morning, so we're not going to be drinking wine on this wine break. But you had the idea that we should talk about wines to drink in warm weather, right?
I feel like a lot of times when it's warm out, people kind of would prefer beer.
Yeah.
And I feel like you should give wine a chance, and so we wanted to give you some ideas.
Yes. And so I just grabbed 7 bottles, I guess, that I thought were like, oh, these are good warm weather wines to talk about. And they all sort of are examples of different styles that I think work well in warm weather. Starting with some sparkling wine. So this is a sparkling wine from Dunebird on Leelanau Peninsula, but this one in particular is not better for warm weather than others. It's just that I think that sparkling wine works really well in warm weather.
Well, it kind of, it takes that bubbly beer quality that I think a lot of people are looking for when they're looking for something a little bit refreshing when it's hot out.
Definitely. And so, you can look for really any kind of sparkling wine. Most sparkling wine is white. But I wanted to also bring the second bottle here. This is a sparkling red. I think we mentioned this when we talked about the Finger Lakes. And I'm sure, I guess I don't know if this is going to make it to a wine break or not. We might drink this off camera. But it's a Lambrusco style, and it's really good. This is from New York State, from Red Tail Ridge. So look for sparkling reds, too. That's something that's not super common, but I don't know. I really like them. I think you really like them, too, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Make an Emiliano spritz.
That's right.
A sparkling red and apricot juice.
Yes. Although I don't know if it's always apricot, but that one place in Bologna we had was apricot, and it was really good. The next one, I felt like I couldn't do this segment without bringing this. We're moving into kind of the crisp white wine territory, which is maybe the thing that most people think of. If you are going to think about wine to drink in warm weather, white wine, I think, is kind of the typical answer. But we couldn't do this podcast without mentioning Vinho Verde specifically, this white wine from northern Portugal. that is lightly carbonated. And so it's not at the level of sparkling wine, but it is lightly effervescent and it's very refreshing. And also low alcohol, which is really nice for warm weather, right? Because you can drink a couple glasses of it and it's not like drinking a couple glasses of wine. It's less than that.
I know every time we bring this to a gathering in the summer, people are always surprised by it. And I think we have converted quite a few people to anytime they go to Total Wine now,
Yeah.
they're looking for Vinho Verde.
And it's cheap too, which is nice. I just grabbed another white wine that I thought was a good style, and this is an Auchois one that we've talked about in this podcast, and you like. But I look for these crisp white wines like the Auchois, the Vinho Verdes. Are there other white wines you like in warm weather?
I mean, Pinot Grigio, Sauvignon Blanc, those are always
Yeah,
pretty light.
that's true. That's true. Avoiding maybe the California Cabernet, I guess,
Yeah.
is kind of what we're dancing around, huh? But light body, acidity. So acidity is really refreshing in warm weather. And also, much of the world thinks that bitterness is more refreshing than sweetness. I tend to agree. Here in the U.S., I think we think of like things like lemonade that are very sweet as kind of classic summer drinks. But I don't know. When I drink lemonade, I'm more thirsty afterward. Bitterness really is very refreshing. So if you look for something that's less sweet, I think that works better.
Aperol Spritz.
That's true. Okay, moving into a category that we cannot ignore for warm weather, the rosé. And this is a dry rosé from Constantin Frank in New York State, but really any kind of dry rosé I think is really classic for summer. This is definitely your category.
Yeah, dry rosé is probably my favorite wine. If you went to like a Provence rosé, that's probably like my very favorite wine. But yeah, I feel like in the summer when you're having some kind of meat dish and you don't necessarily want some like heavy red that's gonna, I don't know, make you hot. I feel like a lot of hardcore reds kind of heat me up. I like a rosé.
Yeah. The Provence rosé is made with Grenache typically is, in my opinion, the most classic for summer. It's got a very, very strong strawberry flavor. But also really good are like the Pinot Noir rosés from Michigan are also very good for summer. Also, we've been having more Cabernet Franc rosé and some other really... there's a lot of rosé going on right now. I want to take credit for this because I remember at Thanksgiving dinner and what was that? Probably 2015 or 16. I was like, you watch because rosé is going to be a big thing. I was starting to hear and then like, sure enough, it is. Just like I'm predicting this Lambrusco trend. So now, because we have a podcast, it will be on the record, right? That whenever Lambrusco takes over as like this massive category in North America, as it inevitably will, you'll see that I was right. Okay, moving into the red area, something that a lot of people dismiss in warm weather. I want to tell you, though, there are a lot of reds that are great for warm weather. I have two here, but there are many more. What you're looking for is something that is very light-bodied, very acidic, low tannin, relatively low alcohol for red. And something that drinks a little bit more like a white wine, right? And something that can even take a little bit of chill. And so I have a couple examples here. This one, the first one, this is also from New York State. This Uva Chillable Red is literally what it's called. This is designed to be chilled. And this is this Zweigelt? This is, does it say? Yes, it's Zweigelt, 90% Zweigelt, 10% Pinot Noir. Some light grapes made in a style to not be super tannic. And you can chill this down to 50 degrees or so, and it's very refreshing. Another one I have, this is a little bit more of a, I guess, normal red wine, but this Gamay from Hawthorne, Gamay and Pinot Noir both are light grapes, and so they can take a little bit of chill, and they can drink great in warm weather, I think. I don't know, do you have any thoughts on chillable reds?
Yeah, not really. Would you ever consider like making a red wine spritz? Is that...
I think with these you could. Spritz, the wine spritz is not really my thing.
It's not really a thing these days. That was very 90s.
But I think you could. Carbonic wines, I think, also drink really well in warm weather if you have something like a Beaujolais. Or we had a carbonic wine. It was from, I think, Washington State. It was a Sangiovese that they had made in a carbonic style. And it was very... Sangiovese, I think of Tuscan wine and how, like, heavy and tannic. And it's like getting punched in the face when you drink a Chianti Classico, right? But they made the Sangiovese from a cool climate in a carbonic style, and it was perfect for warm weather. I thought it was really great. I think we actually had that on the wine break. Sometime last fall, I think we had that one on the wine break. when we talked about carbonic maceration. You can go look that up. So those are some recommendations for warm weather wine drinking. And if you're a wine lover like us, don't let the heat stop you. Just think about wines that work well. There are plenty of options, as you see, in all formats. All right. Well,
All right.
good wine break for not drinking any wine.
All right, we are back from the wine break, and we are talking about some U.S. travel news.
Okay.
My first little bit of news here is that the NOAA is warning of an above normal hurricane season and predicting 19 storms this year.
Yeah.
What is NOAA?
Or
National Oceanic Atmospheric Association?
That's it. Yeah. And they go by NOAA.
NOAA. Okay. For those of you that don't know, hurricane season goes from June to November. I feel like the summer is usually pretty quiet when it comes to hurricanes, and then it picks up more in the fall. October, November is usually the worst. I almost feel like, because I feel like now we're getting them in December, it almost feels like that should be shifted, because I can't tell you the last time there was ever a hurricane in June.
Yeah, at least not one that we would have heard. I don't know if we hear about all hurricanes. We usually hear about the ones that are close to the U.S., but
that are coming for Florida.
Florida or Puerto Rico or Texas. Yeah.
So the data shows that there's a 60% chance of an above normal season this year, and they're predicting 19 named storms, including 5 major storms that are category 3 or higher.
Yeah.
So if you are planning any sort of travel to the southeast U.S., Texas, Mexico, the Gulf area, just be aware and definitely have travel insurance that covers weather. And something that I will recommend too if you're traveling in hurricane season, which might seem counterintuitive, is to book a cruise, because you might say, why would I want to be on the ocean during hurricane season? One, hurricanes are less strong out in the ocean. They get worse when they get closer to land. And then two, if a hurricane forms, a ship can go around it. Whereas if you are booked at a land-based resort or something like that, you just have to cancel.
It's true.
I wouldn't book a cruise expecting to hit all those ports, but if you want to travel during hurricane season, that is a better bet. All right, our next piece of news is that Disney is cracking down on DVC rentals.
Of course they are.
So if you're not familiar, DVC is the Disney Vacation Club, which is Disney's timeshare, essentially.
It's a timeshare.
But the cool thing about DVC as someone who doesn't own, a lot of times in the past, you were able to get a good price on the deluxe resorts by renting DVC points. And there are several websites out there that will help you do this. And surprisingly, Disney doesn't like it.
Yeah. I'm actually amazed that this has gone on as long as it has. That Disney hasn't just been like, no, you can't run an Airbnb out of your DVC. Yeah. Just remember with DVC, there's a lot that you get, but at the end of the day, it's still a timeshare. You're still paying money to own something that can't really be owned. We do not recommend timeshares here.
In early June, Disney added a new condition to its membership terms, requiring people to certify that their bookings are solely for personal use and not for commercial purposes. And it goes on to define personal use as enjoying the benefits of DVC membership with family or allowing use of any reserved vacation home to friends and family on occasion. So I guess on occasion, you're able to let friends and family, not strangers that you've never met.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is probably one thing that would make DVC less cost effective, because in the past you were able to rent out your points, and now that's not going to be something that you're going to be able to do. Mm-hmm. And it's also going to make it so if you want to visit one of those really cool deluxe resorts, you have to spend the ridiculous Disney price to do. Any other thoughts?
No.
Staying in the Disney bandwagon, Test Track is going to reopen on July 22nd with a high-tech makeover and all-new musical score.
Oh, I forgot that was closed. I know we talked about it, I think, when it did close.
Yeah. So this is the third iteration of Test Track.
Yeah.
I feel something interesting is it's presented by General Motors, which I feel like was the way the original Test Track was. And I believe Test Track 2.0 was Chevrolet specifically.
Yeah, that's right.
I don't know why the change.
Back to GM.
Yeah. All the concept art looks really cool and futuristic, kind of Tron-like. But my understanding is the track is staying the same. So
Yeah. It would be hard to change that track. I feel like that building is built for that track.
right. It would have been nice if they would have figured out a way. Maybe they did. I haven't read this anywhere. But if they had figured out a way to operate it in the rain.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the reimagined attraction maintains its signature high-speed finale where riders reach speeds of up to 65 miles per hour, but now includes storytelling that aligns more closely with Epcot's ongoing transformation into a park that celebrates the power of possibility.
I'm sure there's a lot about electrification, right? And maybe autonomous mobility. I'd imagine that's what's going on there.
And I didn't include this in my notes here, but also Spaceship Earth is going down for a refurbishment at the end of August. And it doesn't sound like they're actually going to be updating it. That's not, they're not redoing the theming or the story, but they're going to be doing technical upgrades.
Sure.
My hope is that they're going to replace that camera and then the screens.
Oh,
Because the last time we went on that, it did not work.
They did not work so well.
No. And also the future that they were imagining was a little. And the crazy thing about Spaceship Earth as it is now is I think this is the longest running iteration of Spaceship Earth.
That's very interesting.
It has had so many different narrators over the years, and it has been in its current state since 2008, which
Yeah.
is a long time and is in need of another upgrade. But for whatever reason, it's been on lists to be upgraded, and it always gets cut because it still works. I don't know.
Yeah. They haven't brought the Frozen characters in there yet.
It is still one of the few attractions in Epcot that has not gotten any IP, probably because they don't know what to put there.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, if you are visiting New York this summer, New York City specifically, they are doing a lot of construction at JFK that is going to make getting to and from the airport very difficult.
So road construction.
Road construction.
Okay.
And there might be construction at the airport as well. I'm not exactly.
I was just going to say JFK and Newark both have construction. But
Yeah, the airport is receiving a $19 million renovation project, and it's
Okay.
about to enter peak construction. And so to help reduce congestion, the Port Authority is offering 50% off fares on the air train service
Okay.
to get to and from JFK.
Yeah.
So the regular fee is $8.50, so it will only cost you $4.25 to get to or from the airport, which seems like a pretty good deal.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to move to the other side of the country. As tourism rates are going down, hotels in Las Vegas are getting rid of resort fees.
Yeah. That's a good trend.
It is a very good trend because they are scammy. And in the past few years, the government has been cracking down on junk fees for the airlines. We mentioned that earlier in this episode. But it doesn't seem, this Frommer's article that I was reading implied that should impact hotels as well. But wasn't that coming from the Department of Transportation?
I know the one we talked about before was coming from the Department of Transportation, but there might be similar orders elsewhere. I'm not aware of that.
Because of high tourism rates, the hotels in Vegas were able to get away with this. And now that people are visiting less, they're trying to entice you back by getting rid of a fee, which makes you wonder if they ever really needed the fee.
Resort fees are such a scam because when you book the room in the hotel, what you're just going to say, no, I'm just staying in my room. I'm not going to use that, which I think some places will let you get away with that. But yeah, it should just be built into the price. I feel like paying a resort fee is more scammy than paying for carry-on baggage. Because when you pay for carry-on baggage, you're getting something that you wouldn't get otherwise.
Right.
But when you book a hotel, you're booking the hotel and the things that are the hotel. Or, I don't know, let's say you're going to go book a hotel at Disney World, you're going to pay separately for theme park tickets, but you could also opt to not go to the theme park and then not pay for tickets. With a resort fee, it's we're going to collect this money from you because you might use the pool or whatever.
And the article was saying, too, that a lot of the hotels were charging that fee even in 2020 when a lot of those amenities weren't even available, which is so scammy and not okay.
It also mentioned that a lot of times they don't have to pay commission to travel agents or booking sites on resort fees. So, like, you can see why they would do it, but this is one that I think is extremely anti-consumer, and I'm glad to see it die. We were complaining about this when we went to San Francisco. If you go back and watch that video of us taking the California Zephyr, we had found out that our hotel in San Francisco had some outrageous resort fee, like $70 a day or something like that. It was absurd. And so we canceled and we booked the Citizen M.
Yeah. And I don't know, it's just crazy that they can hide them in such a way and you don't find out until you get there.
It's not on the website.
Right.
It's like rarely is it on the website.
I have been lately when I'm looking at hotels, I have been looking at the frequently asked questions on booking.com because that's a lot of times people ask and then they have to tell you if you
That was how I found out about that hotel in California. Was I think I saw it somewhere that someone mentioned they had one. It didn't say how much it was, but so I called them and I was like, yeah, forget it.
Our last piece of U.S. travel news is that the Amtrak Mardi Gras is beginning service between Mobile, Alabama and New Orleans.
Oh, okay.
I believe this is a line that was in use quite a few years ago and it's just now reopening.
Yeah.
So if you are someone that lives in the Southeast, it is now easier to get to New Orleans.
I wonder if that's one of those state-funded lines, like a lot of the regional lines. Or, the ones in Michigan, the ones in a lot of the shorter ones in the Northeast, like the states contribute to that. Amtrak Cascades, the states contribute to that.
Yeah, I know there was one that just opened up that goes from Chicago to Minnesota.
Oh, yeah, it's one of those.
And that was a state-funded line as well. I'm not seeing anywhere in this article.
Yeah, that's fine.
And it goes along the Mississippi Gulf Coast, which might be cool. Might be some good views.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to move over to global travel news. This is one that we have talked about, and that is Hertz Rental Car is now using AI scanners to charge for damage undetectable by the human eye.
Yeah.
That's not scammy at all.
Yeah, I don't even really know what to say. It's frustrating.
Because you can't be prepared if you can't see it.
Yeah, I don't know how these contracts are worded exactly, but if you think about the use of a rental car, you pay for a rental car in part because you're depreciating the value of the car. Like you're using that car, you're putting wear and tear on that car. Wear and tear, normal wear and tear should be part of what you're paying for, right? If it can't be seen, like when we go drive our car, it's worth less every time we drive it, right? And so if I'm renting a car, I'm paying for that. What you would pay for over and above that is damage. Right? Like I hit a pole and now there's damage. But yeah, I feel like there are going to be lawsuits or something. Like what are you paying for apart from the fact that no one else can use that car? It just doesn't make sense to me.
Honestly, we've never rented with Hertz, but I would avoid using Hertz because of this.
It'll be interesting to see what the practical effect of this is. I could understand. Certainly, I have trepidation over this idea. Maybe in practice, it won't mean anything. Like maybe in practice, it just means they're better at catching like real damage where maybe an employee looked the other way. I'm not saying that's great either, but maybe it's not like in my head, I imagine, it's some invisible dent that like
there's a teeny tiny little scratch.
A mosquito flew into the bumper and now there's like this, but maybe it's not going to be that. Maybe it's just going to be they're more thorough.
It could be taking the human element out of it. All right, our next piece of news is that Honduras is now requiring proof of measles vaccination for visitors from 24 countries, including the United States.
Okay.
The problem with this, do you have proof of your measles
No,
vaccine?
maybe my parents have it.
As someone that got the vaccine as an infant,
yeah,
it's not going to be very easy to prove.
Yeah, that's interesting.
If you cannot prove vaccination, you will be required to take a test similar to the COVID tests to prove that you do not currently have the measles.
Yeah. Yeah.
I understand it, but it's annoying. And Honduras, Roatan is a common cruise port.
True.
And so that's adding a layer of complexity for common cruise vacations.
Yeah.
This one's exciting to me. A new museum is opening in Mexico City. Museo Frida Kahlo is opening next to Casa Azul.
Oh, cool. We were almost there. I mean, we were at Casa Azul.
Yeah, we were right next door. It is promising a fresh examination into Frida's life.
I guess we have to go back. We want to go back so bad.
The new museum aims to avoid rehashing what's covered in Casa Azul. Instead, it will focus on Frida's origins, her childhood, family life, and early inspirations.
Okay.
Items on display will include letters, toys, photos, and of course, art, both early efforts and mature works, as well as other objects.
I wonder if it's going to be run by the same people that run Casa Azul, like if it's going to be a combination ticket or if they're just next to each other.
I'm not sure, but they're calling it Casa Roja, and it was donated by her grandniece. So the house was still in the family, which is cool.
That's cool.
Yeah. So if you like Frida Kahlo and want to see more than just her house, you have another spot.
Yep. And very convenient that you could do both. And then you could go down to the Coyoacan market and get some tostadas. Yeah.
And this article is saying if you want to see more Frida's work, there's a lot of it on exhibit at the Museo Arte Moderno in Chapultepec, which I didn't know that was there. Maybe I knew it was there at the time.
Yeah.
But
There are a
we kind
lot.
of ran out of time.
Moral of the story, there are a lot of museums in Mexico City.
That's very true.
A ton of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In a week, you cannot see them all. You can't see a fraction of them.
Yeah.
All right. We're going to move to another part of the world for our last piece of travel news here. And it is the world's largest railway bridge opens in Kashmir.
Okay.
The Arch Chenab Bridge sits 359 meters above the river of the same name. And that is 29 meters higher than the top of the Eiffel Tower.
Wow. That's impressive.
That is very tall. I might be a little scared going over that.
I'd like to see the ramp up to it. Like how you go up and down. Yeah.
It costed more than $160 million with a length of over 1,300 meters. The bridge is part of the first railway link between Kashmir and the rest of India.
Cool.
All right. So that is all the travel news we have for the end of June 2025. I'm sure we will be back for more travel news from July.
Okay.
Have a good week.
See you later. That's all for today's episode of Go See Do Explore. Thanks for joining us in sharing the wonder of travel.
If you want more from each episode, head to GoSeeDoExplore.com, where you'll find blog posts, resources, and extras from our travels.
You can also reach us anytime at podcast@GoSeeDoExplore.com. We love hearing from you.
And if you'd like to support the show, check out GoSeeDoExplore.com/support.
We've got subscriber levels that unlock benefits like our full trip itineraries and notes, a private Discord for travel chat, and even postcards and souvenirs from our adventures.
Don't forget to rate and review the podcast. It helps more travelers like you find us.
Until next time, I'm Christopher.
And I'm Ashley.
Keep exploring, keep discovering, and we'll see you out there.